Welcome to the Split Take Podcast. We're here for a very special episode, our yearly best of the previous year, best of 2022 movies. Chandler and I haven't done many podcast recordings as of late. There is one episode that we recorded I have yet to publish, so we'll have that out before this, but this will be like the second episode we've published since our long, I feel like it's been a 6-month hiatus. So it's a good episode. And on this one, we, of course, have Chandler and I, but we also have two returning guests from last year, DJ and Sonju.
What's up? I'm excited to
You did this last year?
about it.
Yes.
I think we did. I was thinking about rewatching it, but I didn't.
I listened to it when you released it, but it was
Really?
like
It was
May or something.
Yeah, it was a lot. We did it later. This one's going to be early, you know. The idea is to get this out before the Oscars happen, because that's kind of when
The cutoff
renewed interest. I feel like there's 2 times of the year you can get something like this out, and it's either like right at the end of 2022 or the start of 2023.
Yeah.
So when a lot of people are talking about, oh, these are the best movies I watched, and then that kind of conversation happens again when the Oscars happen. So that's a good time when the people are thinking about it again.
Yeah.
And I had more time to get through the 2022 movies compared to January. Like, my list was pretty bad in December, January. I hadn't watched anything.
Same.
So I caught up a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty usual. I don't know. I was much better this year about actually keeping up with movies as they were released. Probably because now I'm living with other people that like to go to the movies all the time. So that certainly helps. But you know, I it's quite hard unless you're like a critic or you have a bunch of free time on your hands to go every week. Because usually every week, like 3 movies are released, so you're always going to be missing stuff, and that's even if you can find a screening of a movie you want to go see.
True.
So there's plenty to catch up on in January and February.
Yeah. There's still a few that we missed though. I wanted to watch 20 Pages. We all go to the World's Fair or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Was that 2022?
Yeah, it was technically. Yeah.
That's gonna be.
So was Worst Person in the World, technically.
Yeah, this is something that we should just establish now. I feel like is like you
What
could make an
counts?
argument for different
Worst Person in the
years.
World. Yeah. Everyone was available to see it this year. Or 2020.
I saw it 2021.
When did
Yeah,
you
I
see
think I
it?
saw it in 2021.
It was in LA, so I don't know
Oh.
when it went wide.
LA's not
But
real. Talk about the rest.
It's
of the
not.
world.
True.
I was
I
a
don't know.
US release, but like Mad God, for example, you could argue
Yeah.
different years.
Mad
but-
God, I would argue, is
Yeah.
2022 release.
So
That's
I've
funny.
done a lot of thinking about this, and I'm pretty sure my new standard is when were people able to watch it outside of a festival? Doesn't necessarily mean you were able to watch it, but people in general. That means like it has been released to the public in some capacity. That's the release.
So Jacob's
that-
going to put out an official redaction allowing me to put Under the Silver Lake on my 2019 list when we recorded that episode 4 years ago.
I suppose we could add that official redaction. Feel free to record it. I will stick it a little
I'll
footnote.
just
into
dub
it.
over.
So
where the
wait,
fuck was in that
shit,
spot.
Do you have Paddington 2 on your 2017 list?
Okay, we're getting into the weeds here. This is not a discussion. I don't
It
think
came out
we're
in
gonna-
the US in 2018.
Yeah, but he counts it by
Oh.
whenever it came
as
out.
long as you're consistent
Very-
with your own rule, it doesn't really
Very
matter.
interesting discussion here. None of these movies, you will notice, are 2022 releases. I don't think we're going to have much debate about that. I think Skinamarink might be the only one, but I'm going to guess it's not going to be on anyone's top
True.
10.
It should be.
It will
just
next
because
year,
it's
just wait.
awesome. Yeah.
It is awesome. I will say that. But that awesomeness is less to do with the quality and more to do with the freedom to express something however you want to. Anyway, this is beside the point. The way we're going to do this year, because last year we went for 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours. It was a beefy episode, probably too beefy. This time we're not going to do. We did our top 10, and we're still going to do that. But what we're going to do is we're going to kind of like fly past the bottom half of our top 10. So the spots 10 through 6. We're going to just kind of do a speed run of, go through real quick. Then in the middle, we're going to break that up with some superlatives, just kind of talk about some other movies briefly that we might not get to. And then we'll close it off with a kind of deep dive discussion about our top 5 favorite movies of the year, which there should be some overlap. I don't think we're going to be deep diving on too many movies, but fingers crossed. I don't know what is on anyone else's list because they like to hide it. My list has never been hidden from anyone. Just sitting there.
I didn't check. I hid mine a
Same.
while ago, though.
I knew you wouldn't look, so I just kept mine.
Oh, I look.
No, Brandon, I meant.
I don't want to know. I think I know what like 4 or 5 of them are probably, but
You could probably guess.
yeah.
All right. So we might as well just get right into it and not dilly-dally into all of this. So our bottom 5, so this is 10 through 6. And we'll keep it to a brief statement about why you like this film. And I'll start the imaginary timer in my head. We'll keep it to like 2 sentences, less than a minute. Anyway, number 10. Who wants to go first? DJ, cut to you. You're the lucky
Great.
man.
Starting off strong with number 10 is Beast.
Beast. Oh
Yes.
my god.
Oh, I forgot to watch Beast.
A movie that I hadn't
I-
seen either.
Nobody
I knew it was
here
going to
has
be
seen
on your
it.
list.
I should have, yeah. Okay. Anyway, I'm a sucker for creature features. So it's like, Crawl was one of my favorites of 2019. And I love
Is
movies.
that the
that are
Gator
just-
one?
Yeah. I love movies that are just like bare bone stories connected with tense set pieces. And this is just enough to make me care about the characters too. And if you're willing to forgive some gaps in logic, this you're gonna like this movie. And I can do that, so I loved it.
Does the Beast VFX look good? It looked pretty good
Yeah.
in the trailer.
Yeah, no, it was great, honestly. I mean, there's a few moments where it might look kind of crappy, but yeah. And I think it's shot on location.
I think
At
so.
least it looked really, really good.
Nice.
That's
All
all I
right.
got to say about it.
Awesome. Sanju? Number
All
10.
right, my number 10 is Triangle of Sadness that Chandler recently pretended to watch.
Never watched. Big sad.
Won't.
It's very
Upon
good.
to or. I mean,
it is
my
a
God.
it is a gratifying satire of the rich in a way that isn't like pedantic and annoying. There's some twists and turns that are fun. Some tonal stuff. I don't want to get into spoilers, but it's a good parody of capitalism. Woody Harrelson's in it and he's awesome. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Same.
Awesome. Just barely missed out on my top 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was close. Top 10 was tough to make the cut, I'll say that.
Yeah,
This
there's
won't
a
be
lot
the
of
last time we
competition.
talk about it. I'll say that.
Excellent. All right, Chandler.
My 10 is Cheating. I don't care.
All right, off
it's
to that.
it's a mini series. I don't know what the thing is about a mini series because it's only 6 episodes, and it's not like you would say this thing is your favorite show because a show I feel like has to be multiple seasons. It's probably not a movie. I don't give a shit. It's called We Own This City. It's HBO miniseries that came out earlier this year, starring John Bernthal. It's made by the guy who did The Wire. It's a 6-episode miniseries about how fucked up and terrible the justice system is, specifically in Baltimore. All I'll say is that it's very, very good. John Bernthal gives arguably, if you count it as a film performance, I think it's second best performance of the year. And for anyone who's curious, who wants to know if The Wire would be their thing, I would recommend watching this. It's only 6 episodes, and it's very, very ACAB.
Does it feel like The Wire?
Yes,
Nice.
it does.
Cool.
My only complaint about this, it would be much higher if it didn't look like TV. The Wire was never a crazy cinematic experience, pointedly so. This felt similar in that it didn't want to distract from the story, but it feels a lot more like, I don't know, dully shot, whatever. But everything else is really great, and just a fucking grim ending. Very good, though.
I do love that this was a very last minute addition to your list because you.
I finished it earlier today.
Yes, and what I saw in the background once or twice was pretty good. It had my attention.
Based.
Anyway, so
back
I'll
to
probably
back
watch it at
based.
some point. Yeah. Speaking of the exact opposite, which is something that is very cinematic in presentation, is a movie that there was a lot of competition for my number 10 spot. And I put this on here partly out of spite for Chandler, who refused to watch it. and this is Fire of Love documentary about two volcanologists, two people who are interested in volcanoes, Katya and Maurice Croft. And a lot of the footage in the movie itself is actually filmed by them. And they are two insane people who, wonderfully insane, like not a bad insane, a good insane, where they love to get like up close and personal with volcanoes. And I think a good judge for a documentary for me is that you can be not at all interested in the subject matter, but the documentary presents itself in a way that makes it interesting regardless. And this is very much a documentary that is about volcanoes, but it's also about their relationship as two people. And it's so wildly cinematic. There are some shots in here that are almost Kubrick-esque. And it's beautiful and it's expertly filmed. And I loved it. And I so rarely get the chance to champion a documentary. So that's why it's
Nice. Like Storm Chaser type, but with a volcano?
here. Kind of, yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. And it's narrated by Miranda July, who is a director in her own right. Kind of did a few.
I just
indie
watched one of
features.
her movies. It was so fucking weird. It was
She's a really good narrator.
that in that book, Sonju, I watched Me and You and Everyone We Know.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. She's the star of it and the writer director. But that's the closest I've been to wanting to watch it now that you said Miranda July narrates it. Sure. Why not?
All right, DJ.
Volcanoes
Number
are
9.
just boring.
My number 9 is Glass Onion. And
Ooh.
while I don't think it's as good as the first, it's definitely funnier. I love Ryan Johnson's comedy, but the jokes in this are some of his best. And maybe it's because Benoit is the main character this time, but which I love.
Yeah, same.
But there's so many good bits that I still think about to this day. And fantastic twist. Third act is kind of what brings it down a little, but it's just so fun that I can forgive it.
Yeah. I
Or
like
not
the
third
tonal
act,
change
like the
a lot.
last like 10, 15 minutes or so.
Right.
And- yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
I
know if-
liked the tonal shift of it. I liked it. It didn't make my top 10, but I did enjoy it. I wish I saw it in a theater, though.
There is
Oh,
a
yeah,
commentary coming out. In
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
They
Day
just
or so.
announced.
which is
I'm
very
excited
based.
for that.
Yes, I
Which
don't
is
know
crazy.
if any of you have listened to the Knives Out commentary. There's two actually. They're both very entertaining, so I'm very much looking forward to the.
I'll have to check
The
them out.
Brick commentary is also really good.
Ryan
So
Johnson's
that's
just
All of his
entertaining,
commentaries
man.
are really good.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love him.
his recent script notes episode was awesome.
Oh, I didn't know he was on there. That's
Yeah, I think it was like towards the end of last year. It was to promote Glass Onion, but
Oh, okay.
it's great.
What is it?
I dropped it.
What is
I
that?
broke it a little.
Oh
Brick.
no.
I still haven't seen Brick.
Same.
It's so good.
I'm
I'll
embarrassed.
probably do for a rewatch.
Yeah.
All right, Sonju, number 9.
My number 9 is The Fablemans. I
Based.
thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was like quintessential Spielberg, where it's like it has a charm to it that only he can pull off without being hokey. And there's like there's like certain irony to it where it's like how films are therapeutic for the audience and for the filmmaker. And David Lynch has the best performance of all time in it. So thoroughly enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
true.
True.
It
Agreed.
was. I knew it would be good, but it was so much better than I even anticipated. I
The movie
thought
or
it
the
was
performance.
Spoiler alert. We'll talk about it more.
Oh,
Okay.
excellent.
okay.
I'll save my comments then.
Yeah, same.
Fablemans is good. My number 9 is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. A very good, beautiful stop motion. The best version of Pinocchio. It's just, I don't know. I love all of his movies, and this one is like in the upper tier. And it's the only movie this year that made me cry. So they're goated. Wonderful.
I wanted to like Pinocchio a lot more than I did, but
Me too.
The issue with one of the big issues with Pinocchio is that the original source material is very episodic. It's just a series of fables and warnings to children to not be naughty, and I don't think that the movie really transcends the episodic nature. I wish it did.
I'm surprised, Chandler, that this
Wrong.
is in your
Okay.
top. Is it just because you
I mean,
cried?
it's 9.
Yeah.
No, I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. Literally, the only reason it's 9 is because there's 8 slightly better movies.
How many movies did you watch this year?
But
do you know?
2022.
I'm at 57.
40.
40.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Probably
just going to
more. I
mention
just
it
stopped logging out for a while.
because it just happened. This is a footnote. I want everyone to be aware of this. That I'm talking to the audience, not to any of you.
Oh.
There's this weird thing that happens with Chandler's microphone where
Oh,
every
yeah.
so often it just like blows out, like he's just talking normally, and then it goes. Whoa!
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
I think it's your headphones.
Is it?
I feel
Like-
like it's like the
'cause the audio's
Bluetooth
coming-
connection or something weird. I don't
But
know.
the audio is coming from the microphone. Like it shouldn't mess with that. I don't know.
Yeah.
This is not the time to
Yeah.
troubleshoot, which is
Weird.
why I just want to make mention. I'm aware of it. It happened in the last episode that I'm editing, and it's only occasional. I don't think it harms the
Yeah, it's not a big
experience,
deal.
Happens.
You're
Jump
trying to make
where
it
were
happen
we?
now.
but- Oh, Pinocchio. Any more thoughts?
No.
No. I need to see it.
One thing I'll say is that the music on the whole is kind of scattered between mid and bad, but the one song I love is the Papa
Papa.
song, whatever the fuck it's called. It's cute as hell. Wonderful. Love it. I think he's gonna do another, and he's talked about doing another stop motion feature soon, so I hope he does. And
I hope he does too, because it's beautiful.
For previous-
Absolutely beautiful.
yes, for previous listeners of the podcast, it was story was by the Over the Garden Wall guy. So
Oh,
I know that.
excellent. My number 9 is a movie that Sonju just recently watched, and I just recently downgraded from a few spots, but that's not a knock on it. It is Top Gun Maverick.
Oh man.
And it is oh my god, this is a year for action movies. We were spoiled for great action films this year. There are more to come in this discussion. I'm sure we'll talk more about Top Gun Maverick in this episode, and what can I possibly say about it? It is a unabashed piece of military propaganda, and yet somehow it is just so damn well constructed that you can't help but admire it and get on board with the ride. It's a wonderful ride of a film.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll
we'll
can
talk
talk
about
about it when we get to DJ's,
Your number one? Your number
DJ
one-
spot.
Yeah. Okay. My number 8 is Decision to Leave. And out of all the movies that I saw, I wanted to rewatch this one the most because it's so dense, but I only got around to it once. And I read a lot of stuff afterward, and that really made me appreciate it more. It's not to say that I didn't love it the first time. I absolutely did. It's just I don't know. There's sometimes it's like, it was like there's so much happening. It's very chaotic.
there's a lot.
You know?
It's fucking insane.
yeah, but it's also really beautiful.
It is. I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but I just like to say, even though it's my number 16 of the year, but I will say it has the best scene of the year, which is chainmail glove.
I was
knife
about to
fight.
say I should have guessed it. That's a good scene.
It's- Just
I
for
was
the
like, what's
people who haven't
happening
seen it,
right
there's
now?
a scene where a detective is chasing a criminal who pulls a knife on him, and in response to this knife, he puts a chainmail glove over his hand and he grabs the knife. It's great.
I was like, is this a normal practice? Like,
I'm gonna watch it again, and weirdly enough, I could have seen it in theaters a few times, but I'm waiting to get the movie Blu-ray because it's really
Yeah.
nice looking Blu-ray.
yeah, it's cool
Yes.
they're doing that. That's all
That
I got.
was unfortunately one I didn't have time to get to because I watched Top Gun and All Quiet on the Western Front in the past 24 hours. That was the one I wanted to get to.
Nice.
It's a good double bill.
Yeah. Watching Top Gun directly after All Quiet on the Western Front was hilarious. But we'll get to that later.
All right, what's your 8?
My number 8 is Triple R.
Heck yeah.
A movie
It's
we'll
just-
certainly talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. I was expecting to get attacked for having it at 8. It's just guys being dudes,
Yeah.
fellas being bros. It's got some great action, great music. Probably the best dance scene of all time.
Probably.
Literally could be. It's fucking insane. Yeah, I loved it.
It's a good study for a movie that proves you don't need your special effects to be good to be effective.
Yeah, there's some
Because
that are
technically
like
it's
very
not-
good, and then there's
Some
some
that are spotty,
are
but
really
even the
bad.
spotty ones are just used so well.
Yeah, even like the poor acting from the villain, I
So
forget
over the top.
her name. It's so bad that it makes her more evil.
Yeah.
And it works.
Makes you hate her more.
Yeah. So we'll probably talk about it more, but Triple R.
What are we on? 8?
8.
Yeah.
My hates is Funny Pages.
Nice.
Oh.
Which Funny Pages is I guess it's also my pick for like underrated gem or whatever. I watched it earlier this year. It's definitely by far the funniest movie of the year. I think in retrospect, after watching a second time and watching a lot of these other movies on the list, I think why it was at one point it fell down so much because I feel like Funny Pages is 2 or 3 scenes away from being like a masterpiece, but as it is, it's kind of like a little too light. But it is the funniest movie of the year. Arguably has cock of the year if you're counting animated. And
why did I think of that? That's also something that we got to discuss. That's for later. Yeah.
Also, I'd just like to say that it's a breath of fresh air having a movie that is not afraid for the characters to be terrible because the lead character is a fucking asshole. And some of the weirdest looking people in a movie in so long. I think if you're counting like sequences, the scene of him visiting the apartment that he lives in is the funniest scene in the movie.
It's definitely
it is quite funny.
Well, I heard it was casted by the same person who casted Uncut Gems, I'm pretty sure.
The sound
they produced it.
Okay.
Like that. Yeah.
And it feels like they did. It's like it just feels like a Safdie project.
Of all the new directors, I will be looking forward to whatever Owen Klein does next because I think he's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
that's 8.
It was number 11 for me, but I agree.
Missed the mark. Wow,
just missed it. Had some tasteful tucked cock.
Wasn't enough. Amazingly tasteful tucked cock.
Which you love to see.
Wonderful.
We were spoiled for choice in terms of our
it's a good year for cock.
Second annual Cock of the Year award, which we'll get to in our superlative section. Something to look forward to if you like cock. All right, my number 8 is going to be Hirokazu Koreeda's film Broker, a film which Chandler did not care for. C'est la vie, but I did. It is a wonderful film about found families, which Koreeda just loves making. He's been making this film for quite some time. However, I would depart with the statement that it is exactly the same as movies like Shoplifters or Nobody Knows or other movies that he's done. I think it distinguishes itself in being very explicitly about adoption and also about its structure, the way that it's kind of like weaving in the narrative of the crime aspect along with the family aspect. And these two are kind of separate and they're kind of back and forth. Anyway, it's wonderfully shot. It's starring Song Kang-ho. How could you not love him?
Legend.
Legend indeed. And I just find it so interesting that Koreeda decided to direct a movie in Korean and make a movie that it's very Korean, especially given the like baby drop boxes where you can just drop babies off. This is something that I think is very specific to that country. But it's great. I loved it. I do have some reservations about it, so I'm not going to say it's perfect or anything, but it just is a film that feels very personal to me, and that's why it's here.
Nice. My number 7 is Nope. And I really liked it the first time, but over a few months it was growing on me like really hard. And I got around to rewatching it, and I think it might be Jordan Peele's best movie. Something I noticed the second time was how just badass the atmosphere is. Like every scene that takes place at night is so cool, and the standout being when the house gets soaked in blood. That whole sequence is amazing. And it's everything that Cowboys vs. Aliens should have been.
True. The horse, all the stuff with the horse running away is so creepy. That whole sequence where it's well, I won't spoil it, but there's a sequence that in the barn that is very scary.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think the chimp sequence is my favorite of the year.
It's great.
It's certainly up there.
It is great. It's a great movie. That was my number 12.
His name is Gordy.
Nope is my number 13, just for the record.
I love Jordan Peele. I wish he would not explain his movies. He doesn't need to explain it.
He didn't.
Well, he explains it in interviews. And that's fine. Like I probably would do the same
yeah.
thing. I just kind of wish sometimes he did the David Lynch approach where he just doesn't say shit.
It's for this one, it's annoying because you had all these people like the whole, was it Logan Paul?
Oh my god, that's the dumbest thread.
And then
of
you
all
had everyone
time.
arguing about it, and it's just like, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, but great movie and great filmmaker. I still think Get Out is slightly better, but Nope is certainly, like, I think it's fair to put it at 1. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, he's great.
I watched almost every movie in my top 10 twice, which is I was very proud of that. And this is one I didn't get around to watching twice, and I think that it could possibly make just the slimmest of margins of the top 10 when I watch it again, but we'll see.
Agreed.
Chandler, number 7.
That's Sonju.
Sanju. What?
Is it? I never remember the order. The squares are all different. Okay, so
Well, it's DJ just talked about.
DJ talked about no. Okay, yeah. Sanju.
Yeah.
7.
Number 7 is Banshees of Inisherin. Another movie about bros being dudes in a different way. It's very Irish.
Very Irish.
Potentially Donkey of the Year. I don't know if
There's some surprising competition for this.
There is. Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson are just such a great pairing. I like. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Is it Keegan or Kogan? Barry Keegan.
Keegan.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That scene that everyone posts on Twitter all the time is another one of the best of the year. It's funny. It's heartbreaking. It's I don't know. It's very. I don't know. It's granular. It's about more than it presents. I could have it as high as like 3, like 7. 3 to 7 are so close to me for me. Like I swap them a lot.
Oh, it's a movie we'll talk about some more. Don't you worry.
Yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Another one.
Agreed. My number 7 is Hit the Road. Iranian, Pakistani. I don't remember what country it's from. Iranian road trip movie. Very. I mean, I don't mean to make the comparison.
Iranian.
I don't mean to make the comparison just because they're both Iranian, but it does feel very much like Abbas Kiarostami, but in like a more accessible way. I don't know. Abbas Kiarostami is just so fucking out there, and his movies are presented in such a way. This is a much more like relatable, family-based story presented in a very odd way, but it's basically about a family who's transporting their oldest son to be essentially smuggled across the border into another country that I don't remember. It's a road trip movie. It's very, very cute. The ending is very sad. And I think this hits harder just because I moved this year. Maybe if I didn't, it wouldn't hit as hard, but it's a fucking amazing debut. Impeccably well shot and best kid performance of the year. It's very good.
I also watched it. It's very good. Very good indie film. Quirky film. All right, my number 7 is a film by the one, the only Joanna Hogue. It is The Eternal Daughter. It is a movie which I watched twice. And the first time I watched it sober. The second time I watched it high. This was the correct move. There's another movie I watched this year that I watched for the first time high and the second time sober. And that's not as good. Anyway, it's mostly just because you get the comprehension the first time and then you get the experience the second time. This was a movie that really grew on me. It's so simple of a film that it's very easy to dismiss, I feel like, just because there's not all that much going on. It's literally just Tilda Swinton and a dog in a hotel for 90 minutes. But it's just so filled with atmosphere and creepy vibes and just an interesting way of telling a very simple story that just kind of like resonated with me and that held up very much so on a second viewing, that I was just so impressed. I need to rewatch The Souvenir Part 1 and Part 2. Both didn't like catch me on the first viewing, but now that this one really like connected on a second viewing, I think that those might raise my estimation of those upon a second viewing. But love Tilda Swinton, and so it's just a great little movie.
I love the gothic vibes in it.
Yes. so many movies don't do atmosphere justice. Like they just barely use atmosphere at all. But this one is just oozing with atmosphere, and I just love that.
I agree. Oh, is it my turn?
6.
My number 6 is women talking, and as opposed to this podcast,
Nice.
hands down my favorite screenplay of the year. Not a second is wasted. There's so many characters that but you feel like you really know them all, and part of that might be because the actresses, we all know that, we all know them, we all love them. They give amazing performances. Everyone's at the top of their game. Frances McDormand is maybe in only 2 scenes, despite being heavily marketed in the movie, and she still kills it. I will say that the coloring is horrible and might be the only reason why it's this a little bit lower on my list. Could take me out of it a little bit, but
It was a decision, though, wasn't it?
yeah, it was.
Oh,
Like, it was,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah,
It goes
it's-
hard for the decision.
Yeah, like I get the point of it. It just, I guess it wasn't for me. Took away more than it added, I guess.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
They got nominated for a screenplay, right?
Yeah,
Is it adapted or original? I don't remember.
adapted because
Okay.
it's based off a book, which is based off a real thing.
Okay. But I wasn't
Oh,
sure if it was a
interesting.
book or
Yeah.
a play.
It's weird that it takes place in, what, 2010?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 2010 or something.
It's one of the most interesting things about the movie is that it purposely like obscures what time period it's in. Like it could be both like 50 years ago and it could be now. Like it uses like anachronistic things. I mean, it couldn't take place 50 years ago. It's very specifically 2010, but the movie doesn't make it obvious that that's the case.
for sure.
It's not until the last scene where they all go to the theater to watch The Social Network.
True. And they're arguing. They're like, "Well, I want to see Inception."
All right,
True.
Number 6, Sonju.
Sonju 6.
My number 6 is All Quiet on the Western Front, which I watched last night. I kind of put it off because sometimes war movies, like the idea just bores me because I feel like it's going to be generic or a rehash, but I read the book in high school. Don't remember
Oh,
much
did
of
you?
it. I did.
How long is the
end-
book?
I don't remember. And you know what's funny? The few chapters I do remember are not in the movie.
Interesting.
Like,
I didn't realize
I always got the,
this is a book that everybody read until this year.
I didn't
Oh, really?
read it.
Yeah.
I think I read it like sophomore year of high school, freshman year of high school. I liked
Certainly
it.
a very famous book.
It was
but-
right when we started doing like analytical essays, and I remember writing an essay on it, but I don't remember too much of the book. But anyway, it is very raw. The performances are great. It is based as hell. And it's tastefully done. Like the horrors of war are very artfully represented. There's one scene that in this movie that is brought me very close to tears. It was very disturbing and stuck with me for a while. And then I jumped into Top Gun directly after, which
A
was
real
hilarious.
anti-war movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great. The music is a little off-putting sometimes. Like it sounds like a Kanye song sometimes. And when you watch the movie, you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Which is
I like that,
ironic
though.
considering that
We'll talk about
it's
it.
World War
Yeah.
II.
Let's not discuss too much.
Okay,
But
yeah.
but I got used to it and I started to really like the score. It's brutal, but it's very good. I would highly recommend it. And it could be higher, but I haven't had enough time to sit on it, so it's at 6.
Number 6, Chandler.
My number 6 is RRR. We'll talk about later next.
Great. My number 6 is a film that has not been mentioned for a long time. It's called RRR. Don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Probably.
Is it really 6?
It is really 6. Yeah.
Damn. Imperialist.
Interesting accusation there. Let's see you back it up.
That's
I
the
don't
theme
know,
of the
man.
year. It's
Yeah.
imperialism movies versus anti-imperialism.
Yeah.
It kind of is. Yeah.
True.
There's quite a few of them. Anyway,
Part of me
Triple
feels
R-
like, yeah, I feel like it would be higher Melissa if I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, same.
there was plenty of opportunities to. Like it was playing.
There
on and
was.
off. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
playing in
yeah.
like wide release, but it was playing. Like you just search Triple R and you see, oh, it's just a random screening, and it was doing that for a good 6 months of the year here in LA.
It's
at least.
playing tomorrow or Saturday.
See?
I told
Just like
you, even it was as early as last March, I think. It was playing at a Harkins near me back when I lived in Phoenix. And I was like, have you guys heard of this movie? I watched the trailer. I thought it was insane. I didn't watch it until a month ago. But it was playing at like a fucking Northern Phoenix Harkins theater at like 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday.
Yeah, this really came out of nowhere. I don't think it was on anyone's. I mean, for the most part, Indian cinema isn't on our radar, but so this just came out of nowhere, and it's just so much goddamn fun. This is the most fun I think I have had in any movie this year, and it had some tough competition with Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah,
both are very fun, but Triple R is based and fun, so it has the edge.
Yeah, true. Best musical number of the year.
It's so fucking good.
The only thing that sucks is I really wish India would have submitted this for the Oscars, because I feel like we could have had a Parasite too. I really do. Whatever.
It's so weird they didn't.
But
it had so much.
I'm just happy.
Yeah,
I'm just happy in general that something like this, something this foreign and odd and out there, is getting big. I'm also happy that it happens to be good, because sometimes you'll get things out of that hit off the foreign markets that aren't as good. This is fucking awesome. My numbers, it was on my top 5 when I started this Zoom, and I just switched last second.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Last second Zoom.
You did that last year too.
Yeah.
I switched everything last second. I have a completely new number 1.
What?
You just go off
put up 20
vibes?
minutes
You're
ago.
insane.
Yep.
I was very close to doing some switching before this call, but I opted for stability. If I've kept this order for this long, I think anyway. But the other movie that did get the Indian nomination, The Last Picture Show, or whatever it is, I think that's the name. I was actually just about to watch that last night, and then I realized I'm not really into watching a movie, so I started 2 new television shows instead.
True. One of them was Evangelion.
And one of them was
the other one?
Evangelion.
You didn't want to watch a 2-hour movie, so you watched 2 1-hour pilots instead.
I think
Evangelion's 25 minutes. Thank you.
I think I've been bitten by the TV bug.
Same.
I was listening or watching the opening sequence to The White Lotus, and I was like, oh, I've been hearing good stuff about this. And then Succession just announced that the 4th season will be the last season.
It's the last one.
And now that I know that there will be a definitive end, I feel like there's more reason for me to start. So
I was just about to tell you that I was going to start rewatching again if you wanted to rewatch it, because
I am down.
This being the last one is tragic, but
no, but it gives me confidence. I haven't watched it, but I'm like Jacob, where I'm like, I feel confident that they're not going to fuck it up, and so I won't
it's a pre-planned decision,
right? It feels like a story decision that's not being tampered with. So
I'd rather it end like ever so slightly too early, but them having the opportunity to plan that ending than for it to go on too long and then just drop off.
Did I sell you with the Nazi scene?
Yeah, you pretty much did. And then this was the news, was the nail in the coffin, sort of speak.
So insane.
Yeah. So
We'll have to send that to
2023
DJ.
might be the year for TV. But yeah, Triple R, pretty great. I'm not sure if we'll talk about it again.
Yeah, we will.
We probably will. Oh, okay. Okay. Some superlatives. Let's do some superlatives, and then we'll get into the second annual Cock of the Year award.